Well, hello, and hello to everyone. We are on day 8 of the 10-day challenge. And guess what day 8 is? I don't think you know. I don't think you know. So I'm going to tell you so. Day 8 on the 10-day challenge is new beginnings. Not only is day 8 on the new challenge, new beginnings, but it is living, right? When you look at in the Hebrew language, the alphabet connects to their numeric value as well. And so Chet is the word Chet, Chet, but it's pronounced with a K, like Chet. And as you look at this word, it paints a picture to you of community. Remember, I've been talking to you about community. I've been talking to you about relationships and understanding that for you to grow, you're going to have to let go, but as you let go, you're going to have to connect to those that are aligned for the divine assignment that you are called to. How you doing, buddy? So today, as we talk about that eighth number, that eighth letter in the Hebrew alphabet, as we understand who we are and where we are in our lives, I want you to understand this part too. That eight piece is a bridge that connects back to, remember, we talked about day 6, we kind of just sent out a message for you all. But when you look at day 6, let me give you a little bit of information about day 6. And it's just vivid. It's just a hook. Day 6 is that connector, it's that hook, right? And some of us are connectors, we're hooks, we're bridges that bring people together. And you can't get to day 8, to new beginnings, unless you've already crossed over the hook, unless you've already crossed over and you sat and had rest. Because remember, yesterday, when you were resting, when you were embracing yesterday, that was a day of healing where things were allowed to come on through. So I need you to understand that on day 8, for us to get to day 8, for us to get to new beginnings, that means we have to already ended something. We have to already be in cross over something. We have to already be connected to the right thing that was going to be the bridge that was going to allow us the space to step over into the new. Are y'all getting me? Are you tracking with me right now? You're at a new beginning. You're at a new season. And in this new season, you're going to work what you got to get what you want. You're going to work what you got. I ain't talking about working your flesh, baby. I'm talking about working your knowledge. I'm talking about working your relationships. So here we are today with two connectors in my life, right? We got Bryn and we got Ma, two connectors in my life, right? So when we officially made this decision that I would do some work with another group on something, I had to call Mod. Why did I have to call Mod? Because Regina don't know technology like that, but Mod does. So Mod was my connector to my destiny of aligning what was new and birth for all of you. And then come on now, come on. Bryn been in the game for years. I'm talking about Bryn been in the game since before I started having kids, right? And we're talking about marketing and advertisement. So when it comes to Bryn, Bryn connected the wisdom, connected the knowledge, connected the experience for Regina to be able to land and land in a way that opened up doors for my new beginning. So hello, ladies. My connectors
Hello.
are in the space.
Hi.
So, Bryn, give us a little bit, right? So, I just covered three numbers. Then those numbers was that six was that hook. Give me a hook in your life. Give me a connector or a bridge that played a part in Bryn becoming Bryn.
Oh, me? Experience. Experience. Trial and error and failure. And being afraid. Did I cut out?
Yes,
Yes, you
you are.
did.
Sorry about that. Maud, why don't you
Okay.
go first? And
It's frozen.
Yeah. So, Mod, you continue that piece, and when we're talking about connectors, right, Mod, there were some people that came into your life that let you know that this was a field that was good, that you were awesome at, spoke some words on over you that connected the dots for you. Can you name off a couple of those people?
Probably my best friend. She actually came into the picture and she sat there and she's like, you know what you're doing. You know where you're going with things. You know how to do, I mean, putting together websites or putting together events or putting together just about anything. She was that one person who actually pushed me to actually become what I am right now.
Yes.
You know, find that niche, find that thing that I do well. You know, that was something that came from her, and that came from her a long time ago. The connector that first started it all, though, was probably my little girl. Because she came into my life and I didn't want to be away from her. I wanted to be in a place where I could be around her, watch her grow up. And by doing, you know, events, marketing, communications, that kind of stuff, and being home with her, that was why I became what I became, because it drove me in that path. So she was the connector to what I am now.
I love that. Lisa Nichols talks about when she had Jelani, her little boy, and how it was at the point where she was at rock bottom, and she couldn't even afford to buy a pack of Pampers. And for her, it was like, I can never let my child experience this again or go through this again, right? And so that was a good connector, a good landing point for her, seeing what Jaylani was experiencing and seeing how she didn't want him to have that life experience. And I love that Brian brought up that, you know, failure sometimes, going through and experiencing things that you never experienced sometimes. But I'm gonna tell you, because of community, right? Because of socialization, because of those people that we've been around, sometimes they awaken us to be ready to take that chance, right? Even when we know failure can happen, we know that if I take this chance, as they took chances for me, that this can be the breakthrough. This may be that one time that's the winner. So the other thing I want to talk about as we go through that, you know, I talked about that the number eight, like not only the number eight, but the word um, paints a picture, that Hebrew meaning paints a picture of community, right? Communicative, right? It paints a picture of connecting in relationships with others. And I find that sometimes we try to battle and fight it so that we can become independent, not understanding the importance of being interdependent, not understanding that everything that you need is in someone else's hands or in someone else's season or mind, where if you speak it out, it may be the thing that connects you to exactly the landing mark that you need. So, Mont, I'll go back to you. I'll piggyback around and come back to you because I watched what you and Bryn when you two connected to one another, right? I watch you both begin to operate in areas and in lanes that you were not operating fluently in before you two connected. And so, since I do have you both here, let's talk a little bit about that because people are trying to be in friendships and relationships with people who are draining them instead of building them, right? And so, let's talk a little bit about that.
You know, it's important. It's important that you align yourself with the people who have the same vision as you, the same mindset. And sometimes it's okay to step out of a circle you've been belonged to for a long time because sometimes we outgrow those circles. And when you do that, you don't have to cut ties with them. You still be friends with them. You still talk to them. You still associate with them. But you don't have to share your hopes and dreams with them. You don't have to be as open as you once were. And when you put your boundaries down, it allows you to move forward for that true new beginning. You have to let go of something else. And for me, connecting with Maud, she was she had what I didn't do, and I did what she didn't do, and together it makes us a force that has a value. And sometimes you have to find those people that bring value to what you already are, so that you can provide a better value going forward.
Mm.
Yeah,
Come on, Mark.
we both did the same things. We definitely had our niches where we were doing the things that we had to, not the things that we wanted to. And Bren takes over where I don't really want to do. I take over where she doesn't really want to. And because of that, we work well as a team. We brought one another up and actually made it to where instead of drawing one another down, we were actually supporting one another and making it so that it became a pillar instead of it being something that was stuck in the mud. We were,
Yeah, and it was a team, and you need to look at teamwork in all of your relationships, work, personal, marriage, whatever it is. Because if you can't build from it, then that relationship is lacking something. So if you can build from it, then you create that team and you create the foundation, create that pillar to move forward with whatever it is that you're trying to move forward with.
I love that. I love that you said teamwork. Teamwork, and look at teamwork in all aspects of your relationships. And some of you know that back in at the end of September, we might as well roll it to October. I stepped out of something that was not challenging for me to do every day, right? I could get up and love on people every day, and stepped into the YWCA Northeast Kansas, into a racial justice facilitator. One thing to even hold the name racial justice facilitator was a hard thing for me to think about holding that, just the label. And I don't know why. And it probably has some things that we know the body keeps score, and so mentally, there probably was some boundaries that was set up there for me because I was doing the work freely without a title. I was doing the work freely. Some of you have been doing the work freely, but scared to take on a title. And in this season, if we're talking about new doors, if we're talking about new opportunities, you're going to have to be willing to get uncomfortable being comfortable. The other factor is that in this season, you have to understand that you're going to come in contact with great people that are going to be the connectors and solutions for you, right? Great people that are going to open up doors for you because they already have favor in spaces that you've never entered into. The other package, like, so for instance, I give you the story, me and co-worker Allison, love her to dear. Allison is part of a Rotary. I'm going to the Rotary to give a presentation. I'm communicate with her like this is a little uncomfortable for me because this is not. I want to make sure that I speak to them where they are. I'm used to going in and giving presentations to inspire and and just empower, right, and just love on them right where they are. But when it comes time, we have to understand to identify what are you uncomfortable with because there's people that can help you with what you're uncomfortable with. So I say to Allison, I'm uncomfortable with this. Allison makes sure that I'm ready to go in the room and thrive. Everything's in alignment for me to thrive when I go in the room. Not only is Allison make sure that everything's ready for me to go in the room and thrive, Allison enters the room and speaks before I even begin to speak. Allison introduces me, right? The connector introduces me to the audience that I'm about to speak to. So there are people that can go speak for you before you ever have to open your mouth. But you trying to figure out how you gonna go in there and open your mouth when they already can have it done for you. They've set the stage. You just go in there and do what you're called to do. So I'm gonna give you a couple tips because we're not going past 5:30 on the day because this is a message we can probably hit for about 10 hours. But here's the tips I'm gonna give you. Your old chapter has been fulfilled. Your old chapter has been fulfilled. It is fully completed. Fully completed. It's completed so that there's an overpour of completion running out of you. Have you ever been so full where your belly is just bubbling over and you can't move? You can't operate in that season no longer. It's done. Now, when we think about that, it's time to begin anew. There is opportunity. As I look out right now, even as you're sitting here and you see me, the sun is shining down upon me. There's a new season taking place. Just a couple of weeks ago, it was cold. I could not move. I could not maintain. Now it's so hot outside. It's a new season. So that means you got to dress for the season. You got to prepare for the season. It's a newness for you. You're bubbling over. You're bubbling over. You're already done with it. Now, the next thing I want you to get that in this new season, as you are given new opportunity, there's going to be a greater authority for you. With a greater authority, there's going to be greater responsibility for you. So in this season, you can't half do this. In this season, you can't hang with them just because you was hanging with them. In this season, just because they family, don't mean you got time for them. In this season, there's a fresh newness on you, and you got to break the scenes on purpose. Remember, I told you there's a great responsibility on you in this season. Not only are you accountable for you, but you're accountable for those you are supposed to speak light into. It's time for you to be the rainbow in someone else's cloud too, because someone's already been the rainbow for you. In this season, people are hurting. People are hurting and they're crying out for a word. You have a mouthpiece, speak today. You have a mouthpiece, speak today. You have a mouthpiece, speak today. Now, not only do I want you to speak today, I need you to understand that you're set up and set apart. You can't act like who you used to act like. That's not you. You've been labeled differently. You've been seen in higher rooms, in wider territories. It's time for you to speak like you. And it's time for you to stop trying to be comfortable in this season. You can't do it no more. You cannot do it no more. You were used to being the bottom, but now today, I've said it to you. You're hearing it. You're at the top. Get up and walk. Get up and step. Get up and create. Get up and be transformed. The light is upon you. The stage is set. We're here. You have connectors surrounding you. Tap into them. You have connectors surrounding you. Tap into them. Not only do you have connectors, you're supposed to connect to some people and open up some doors for them too. It's a new season. We talked about that before. We talked about, can you see it? Now we're about to move into day 9. We're almost rounding off to day 10. Can you see it? Can you feel it? You're responsible for the outcome of what happens in this season. It's day 8. Don't be late. Tomorrow, we're going to land the next message. Please make sure that you have already purchased your ticket for the Safe in His Arms conference. That conference is landing on us. It is landing on us soon. We're coming up in June, baby. Get your tickets. Get your tickets. Get your tickets. You want a word? Come for one. You're ready.
And I have to say, I was cutting out, my biggest connector, the person in my life, has been Christ. There it is.
Get them. Get them. All right. We just landed it. We landed the plane. I hope you got the nuggets. If you didn't, listen again and again and again. We're on YouTube, we're on Twitter, and we're on Facebook. Again and again and again. We've landed this plane. I hope you tasted and seen today that you can do it. Bye, y'all.